Okay, so welcome class. Today we're going to learn about the 18th century inventions. We're going to use the inquiry model in order to be able to understand it a lot better. If you ever forget, I wrote it over there on the board for you, but we're going to get started. So just to start, we're going to go over our essential questions. So our essential questions for today will be, how is the inquiry model implemented to be most effective? And then also, how is the inventions of the 18th century how has it impacted the present day 21st century? So our motivational device for today will be the iPhone. So does everybody know who created the first phone? Anybody?
No.
Well, yes.
Alexander Graham Bell.
Yes. So if I ask you to imagine yourself for a day without your phone, would you be able to function? Yes or no?
No.
Why not?
Because I use it for everyday life, communicating, researching, etc.
So it's basically part of you, basically.
Basically.
I agree.
All agree? Okay. So now I'd say brainstorm some ideas on why the invention of the phone has become such an integral part of our everyday lives. One or two ideas, maybe. You can talk amongst yourselves if you need to.
I think it's because we have easy access to anyone on the internet. Like, we could text anyone we want, talk to anyone we want.
Yeah, it's really easy to communicate, I guess, so.
And you can see what's going on, social media and stuff.
Keeps you up to date with the news and everything.
Okay. So our first step of our inquiry model is going to be pose a question. So what were some of the most important inventions of the 18th century, you think?
There's the phone.
Yes, it is one.
18th century.
I use my phone to look up the question.
Later. We will later.
Is that the time of the cotton gin?
I think you may be right.
Yeah. I think factories are coming out about that.
Yeah, about around that time, Henry Ford.
Yeah.
I haven't took social studies in a while.
So our next step will be to pick one of these three inventions that I found, and we're going to make a hypothesis on which one we think is the most important. So right here we got a Honda Civic, my car, my little beauty. Then the next one is we got an iPhone, and then the light bulb. So three of the more important inventions that I thought we had. Okay, and our next one is we're going to gather some data. So I'm going to give you about 2 to 4 minutes to come up with 2 or 3 facts on which invention you think is most important. So now you can pull out your phones, write down maybe 2 or 3 facts on which one you chose.
Can you go back to the last slide?
Yeah.
we're finding facts why they're important, right?
Yeah, about why one of these three inventions would be most important. You're trying to make a case for why, which one is most important, in your opinion. So not necessarily maybe the actual Honda, but like, or specifically the iPhone, just the phone and car in general as an invention. Okay, does everybody have at least 2 or 3 facts for your invention? We'll start with you. So, what are some facts? First tell us the invention you chose, and then your 2 or 3 facts why.
I chose the light bulb because, well, first it gives us the ability to see in the dark, so it can provide safety at night when you're walking in the streets. So
Okay.
it's not pitch black.
Yeah.
And it led to other inventions like headlights on cars or like the power grid.
Very true.
And it enables humans to extend the length of the day by being able to work at night.
Okay, very true.
And they had candies.
So
It's
invention.
windy, then.
Yeah. Invention and your facts why.
I did the car. And, well, this little fact was the first car was invented in 1885, but 85% of people in America own a car. And it said that any householder usually owns a car. And it's like the most common way to travel. It really changed, like that was the thing that changed travel. Like it made the whole US like connect to each other because now you could travel across, and that's why they made highways and everything. And like that was like the first thing that used an engine, which expanded it to like airplanes, so like kind of made way to different travel.
Good. Okay.
I did light bulb as well. I
Okay.
wrote down that obviously everything around us you need to be able to see.
Yeah.
Extends the work day, so it allows us to work in hours that we don't need sun. We
Yeah.
can just use the light, and allows us to navigate and travel safely in the dark.
Very true. It's what's allowing us to see right now. Good presentation. So this is more of the kind of the data I came up with when I researched. So the iPhone was actually created in 1876. Then it was created by Alexander Graham Bell. I said it allows for people to easily communicate from far away distances, and you can easily get a hold of somebody. Then for the car, it was created in 1844. It was created by Carl Benz. Allowed people to travel further distances and get places faster than obviously like a train or a bicycle, something that was the transportation before the car. Then over on the far right, we have the light bulb. It was created in about 1879. It was created by Thomas Edison, and it allows us to still do things after it's dark out, like you both said, and it illuminates houses, cars. So the point you made about it illuminating the headlights of the car, then street lamps in schools. So really, the light bulb does a lot. So we're going to do, it's called the Twitter board, so students are able to summarize what they learned about their invention.
Which one do you think is most important?
Which one do I think? I'd probably say the light bulb, kind of like you said, it kind of plays into all the other ones at the same time. So if you had to come up with maybe one sentence to summarize your invention, what would you say?
The light bulb?
Yeah, whichever one you chose. Just one sentence on its importance.
The light bulb is most important because it allows us to extend our workday.
Okay.
The car is the most important because it expanded our travels, and you're able to get places and connect people all over the country.
Very good.
The light bulb is the most, what's the word?
Important.
Invention because it allows us to work in the dark.
Very good, very good. Okay. So, our next step is assessing our hypothesis. So after doing our data research, do we still agree with the hypothesis we selected, or do you think you would like to change it?
I agree with mine. So.
Yeah, I agree with mine.
You're the odd man out. You still want to stay with the car?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, wait, I have an argument. You
Okay.
said 85% of people own cars.
Yeah,
About
in
100% of people have lights in their house.
That's not true.
About.
Where's your facts?
Pull it out.
Wikipedia.
Good. Drop the knowledge on
I
it.
really doubt that 100 will have lights.
Percent of people.
Nearly 30% of people.
Have ditched
Light bulbs?
Has ditched light bulbs. They have more lights.
Oh well, there you go. There you go. So
Wait,
there goes your
okay.
argument. So our next step is going to be generalizing about our findings. So do you think doing this with 3 presidents would yield us the same result if we did the same process? So if I gave you 3 presidents and you had to pick one and try to come up with 3 facts why they were more important than the other one, do you think we would yield the same results?
It's the same process.
Exactly. Then being able to do this with more than one thing again shows us that this process will be transferable and work with more than one example. So now we're gonna do another formative assessment. It's called check for transfer. So we're gonna make sure everybody's understanding. So we're gonna make sure can you remember any of the steps? If you can, write them down. They don't necessarily need to be in order yet. Just try and write down as many as you can remember. And once you get that down, the second part of the question then is how would you apply it to another content or lesson? Or an example of one. We good? How many got at least 3 steps?
Yeah.
So how many did you get?
I think I got one.
You got one?
Yeah.
Okay, well that's not too bad. So what would be your content or lesson that you came up with?
I would say like science, anything science-based.
Anything science hypothesis?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I see.
I said that too.
Okay,
I said science.
yeah. So obviously it could be transferable. It doesn't have to just be history. It can be science, things like that. So our last step is going to be analyzing the process. So again, here are our steps. You can check and see how many you actually got if you did get them. So first is obviously posing a question. That's where we made our hypothesis about which one we thought would be the most important. Then we formed the hypothesis. And then the next one would be gathering data. Then number 4 is assessing a hypothesis. So that's when we argue with Braun because he was the oddball out. He's the one that had the car. Then we generalized about our findings. So that's when I said that this process is transferable. You can find it to go to another process. And then obviously the last one then is analyzing the process. So that's the one we're on right now. So how did this work? Could we maybe pick a different learning method to maybe better learn this material? So again, our essential questions. So you should be able to answer them now. So how is the inquiry model implemented to be most effective? And how has the inventions of the 18th century impacted the present day, which we did talk about throughout this presentation? And how did we decide what the most important invention was? We used the inquiry model. Do you think there would be any better process to do this next time? No? Do you think there would be any better process to do?
No.
Okay. Then our last little formative assessment, quick to wrap up, is if you guys want to talk to each other, I'm gonna make sure you all know the steps of the inquiry model. I'm gonna go back a slide, so this won't be on the screen. So now you need to brainstorm all 6. And go.
Alrighty.
Something tells me that you have to pose a question first,
Yeah.
and then form a hypothesis.
Gather data,
Gather data.
Yeah.
then you assess the hypothesis.
That's the hypothesis.
Yeah.
That's what I had. And then one was.
Generalize the findings.
Yeah.
Then finally analyze the process.
Very good, very good, very good. Okay, and that's gonna do it for the presentation. I hope you all learned a little bit of something about the inquiry model. Now I'm going to hand out the formative assessments. Thank you. Thank you all for your time and cooperation.
Oh shoot. How do I get in here?
You just gotta see the edited face.
Oh, wow.
Did you have
Ooh, 18.